Good morning, lovely people, or good afternoon, wherever you're listening to me around the world. My name is Dalia Zaid. I am the founder and managing director of FWD Consultancy. And I'm here to give you bits and pieces of my thoughts on B2B. And the fun part, I'm going to start with a story. The story, and as a consultant and have my own business, I'm actually pitching for another business. Yeah. So it is an actual story and a case study for what I actually do. So I don't know how far many of you or the audience today know me, but what I do is I grow and build brands, or build brands and grow brands. So it could be something existing, or one of those struggling brands. I work with the team to put them back to growth or the next level of growth. My focus has always been Middle East, Africa, with a few exceptions in Europe. So having done that introduction, again, think about it. What did I just say? I said I build and grow brands, regardless. They are B2C, B2B, any sector, any geography. And here's the caveat. If you, in the first 2 minutes, can tell me what you are about, then you are not a brand. Regardless, you are talking to a customer in a B2B format or a B2C format. Now, let's just, go back and tell you that little story. So there's this Egyptian company, construction. It's very, very big. It's huge. And no, it's not Orascom. But I can make a guess that local business for them is around 60% of what Orascom is. So they're family business, and they want to relaunch the brand. Basically, I don't know them, but somebody they contacted someone, and that someone said, "Listen, this is not my area of expertise, but I know someone." And then he called me up and said, "Blah blah blah," and I said, "Sure, let's have a chat." So I get the assistant of the procurement director calling me and said, "We want to set a time. Does this date fits you?" And I said, "Listen, who am I meeting?" She said, "The procurement director and a committee of 3 people, including HR and marketing and, of course, procurement." And I said, "This is a strategic project. I would like to meet with the CEO to understand the vision and aspirations." Then the procurement director calls me up and says, same thing. And I explained to him in details that this is strategic thinking. I don't need to listen to what your background is. You already sent me a brochure on PDF. Yeah. I need to see and hear from the CEO his vision, particularly because it's a family business. And if I ever, I worked with a lot of family businesses, and I know where the bottlenecks are. And we need to make sure that we're the right fit. He understands what brand strategy is and what my methodology will be. So he's at point A and he wants to go to point B. So he needs to be very articulate to describe to me that point B and all the resources and commitments that he needs to put there, because it is not easy. Change is not easy. Yeah? But it is worth it? Absolutely. What are we doing here? We are about growth. You're growing your business, you're growing your team, your talent, and by the way, as a CEO and an owner of a business, you're growing yourself as well, because I will touch upon personal branding of the leadership team as well. So this story is, fun and sad in a way. The guy was very polite and he understood my point, and I gave him a lot of examples of my current work. So, I know my stuff and I know the bottlenecks, okay? And at the same time, as a consultant, it's very tricky because people do not understand that their win is my win. I would like to put that client on my credentials and see them grow as well. Yeah, it's a win-win situation. But I think part of the issue was they didn't get the fact that I only worked with one client B2B, and that was in Cape Town, South Africa. And yeah, and a charity one, and I did an education one as well. But to them, if I did not work in construction, then I don't qualify. I tried to tell them that this is a thinking process, strategy. The way we communicate after that, it needs a little bit of technical input, which, I mean, I don't need to be an engineer, yeah? But anyway, separate discussion, they never called back again. And it triggered to me that, okay, it's lost business, but again, the bigger picture is quite sad because a week ago, I spoke to a lovely German company. They are a big agency, but one of those hidden gems. And they've done some of the beautiful, beautiful logos and packaging design in the chocolate world. And they want to expand. And I said, I mean, beyond the DACH kind of German speaking companies. And I said, yeah, I mean, that's great. I have these ideas, blah, blah, blah. And they were tuned in. Whether they're going to, pick up that thread and go ahead with it, I don't know. But it hit me as in I checked their leadership team profiles on LinkedIn, and they hardly have anything there. And if they do, they have articles about their own tools. But again, why should I pick you up? I mean, I'm in the industry, so I can appreciate the logo designs and all of that. But if you want to expand to new markets, and I know they're eyeing the Middle East and Saudi in specific, why should I pick you up? Why should I contact you? And if I contact you, who? And what's the profile of the person? Social media is huge today. I mean, I don't have to tell you that. But if you're working in HR, for example, I know for a fact that almost 50 to 55% of companies would Google the candidate on their social media as part of the screening. It's not only about the CV, and there's a lot of examples of good and bad. So yes, it is important. Whether you're going to take that step and start thinking differently about expanding and beyond that you're selling B2B, I mean, it's up to you, really. And what also triggered this conversation today, and maybe a few of my posts and audios on my YouTube channel that I posted last week, is yet another example of why B2B is very important and in focus today in the marketing world. I'm sure as practitioners in marketing, you heard of Cannes Lions, yeah, the very prestigious creative conference that happens in June. And they were celebrating this year 70 years, yeah. But funny enough, it's only the second year where they have created an award for B2B creative. Yeah. And the copy that won this year came from Brazil, from Impact BBDO, and it was commissioned for the UN. It is called the Most Urgent IPO. It's the IPO of Earth. The copy is called Earth, Terra 4, if you want to Google it. And the message was, here it is, the UN is addressing investors. And what are you investing in? You're investing in Earth. So it's a B2B and it's a creative format. It is advertising. There's so many good examples out there. It's just sad that it's in the infancy. Now, the other thing I would again tell you triggered this conversation, and it's very indicative of how important this conversation is. 3 weeks back, I attended virtually the Brand Week Florida, and there's a lot of good stuff there. I mean, I will share over time learnings from there. I think personally my highlight was the speech by the CMO of Coca-Cola. I mean, these guys are really on the next level. They're really in a different space. And of course, the overriding theme was generative AI. But I will not interrupt this B2B thoughts for now. So going back to Brand Week Florida, there was a lovely case study, the relaunch of Xerox. So here it is, a 100-year-old brand, that is so powerful in terms of brand awareness. We actually have a verb, I'm going to Xerox this. But over years and years and different generations, it lost its, charm maybe, or they are not relevant anymore to all of these tools online. Um, I would say 30 years, 35 years plus audience would remember Xerox, but there is zero brand awareness for younger employees. So they had this amazing campaign. We make work work. So they understood that the buyer journey has changed. And this is probably one of the things that, get missed out from B2B companies. Yes, you still have procurement. I have all the respect for procurement, regardless of the story I told you earlier. But you need to understand the triggers. In this case, it was very interesting because yes, you have procurement, you have an IT department head, you have a CEO, depends how the cycle goes. So between decision maker, budget owner, technical person, influencer, and so forth. But they also realize that part of the influencer cycle is the employees. They are the employees. They have an influence. When they are working, but the tools, the company they're giving them as business tools is not working for them. And these guys, Xerox that is, have step changed the thinking. We are not about photocopying. That's a thing of the past. Nobody, uses paper anymore anyway. But they have developed a portfolio whereby it helps employees finish their work faster. So all the campaigns were directed to actually employees. So you have the ability to finish work faster, so you can go home and catch that soccer game with your son. Rest or connect with your family or your hobbies or go to the gym or something. Yeah. So your working day has become less stressful. So you have a story to tell, and that story is within context of a B2B business deal. Did these guys skip the part around the salesperson of Xerox going in with a pitch and a presentation? No, it's still there. But this is the complementary part, the storytelling, the brand building, understanding your target, understanding the buyer cycle and what makes them tick. I think this is a huge learning for everybody here, including myself, because it takes the same journey for me to convince somebody to buy a mobile phone, an end consumer. It's the same way that I'm convincing a mom to get this, nuggets brand versus another. And if you think about it, the mom is the decision maker and buyer, but the influencer is the kid at home. He's the one who's going to tell her, mommy, this nuggets tastes better than the other one. So she'd be conscious the next time she's in the supermarket. She said, I will buy this because this is what my son likes. It's the same thing. So I'm the head of company XYZ and I'm purchasing whole new tools for my employees. See where I'm getting at? And this is one of the longest running lessons we had in marketing. Pull and push. I don't know if any of you gone through, a rigid kind of old school marketing. But yeah, push and pull. So there is integration of the thinking of how we're selling this. Yes, at the end of the day, we sell. However, there is a balance that is needed between marketing tools and sales tools, the way we do business. The other thing, which is extremely important, is the mindset of the owner. And having, forget about multinationals. I mean, I have some reservations about how multinationals work and operate these days, and for many, many years, having worked for many of them over 20 years. But I'm speaking more of the growth companies, and these are usually the large businesses, whether international or family owned. And this is a syndrome globally, I would tell you. So, first generation, they're still very much in the heritage kind of thing. So you look at any standard brochure, whether it's a PDF or their website, it will always start by a picture of the founder and probably some of the values, which one of them has to be, we've been in business since 19 whatever 60 or whatever, and then you can trust us, there is credibility, which are all fantastic, cool. But then things have really changed. Do you understand the little nitty-gritties where there are bottlenecks? So something like speed. Speed is very important. Speed to launch. Maybe that is the one point that you want to focus on. You don't need to revise with your legal the contract for 3 weeks. Maybe you can fast track that in 10 days. That will certainly help. Maybe you want to put in a 24/7, literally, hotline for your clients to update in projects. And we're talking about mega projects here. I mean, like, factories or things that is related to the government. We're talking about millions and millions or maybe billions of dollars. Yeah? Or even at a smaller level. It's a factory. Maybe you want to plug in a full solution. So it's a factory. What do factories need? Okay, you're going to give them the building. But there are utilities. So do you want to give them a renewable energy solution? Yeah. That's long-term thinking and can really help with the cost long-term. Do you want to give them security, whether physical or tech kind of solutions? This is the way businesses should think when they put their bundle. So that at a portfolio level. But when you think about the pitch, okay, again, in few words in the first couple of minutes before you start any business pitch. Who are you? And what are you here for? Why should I listen to you? I'm not talking about the what. I'm talking about the why. As I started today, I told you, I'm the founder and managing director of FWD Consultancy. I build and grow brands. Full stop. Now I can go on and on about my story, how I started, my equity, markets, blah, 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 which is great. And I do have a story. And well, my advice for you is to train yourself on how to put together, heavy technical stuff in a story format. And I got to tell you, it does happen. I recall many, many years ago, I took this training with Kraft Foods in Vienna. And it was, it's with a company, I think it was called Boyer International. It was customized specifically for Kraft food executives, where they have tons and tons of data to share. But this presentation needs to be in 20 minutes, maximum 20 slides for the board. And I think ever since then, which is like 15 years back or so, I have not done a presentation more than that, because you go for the kill, call to action. It's very hard, but it is trainable. But that would be my side tip for you. So I'll share a couple of numbers. I'm just switching to my slide now just to read the numbers, because there was a recent survey from LinkedIn, which if you Google it, I mean, you'll find it. It's an open white paper one on B2B, and particularly zooming in on marketing skills. What are they seeing as shifting trends in both skills, jobs, and so forth? There is more reliance on business insights, on analytical skills, digital marketing, and the way we transform our thinking, which of course stems from brand strategy and the message you want to send out there. But yes, social media tools are being used to address B2B. One of the things that you need to be aware of, I'm not saying that you don't complement that with the traditional one. So the CEO and the leadership team if they have, a good personal brand, they would still go to trade shows, expos, one-on-one VIP networking, and all of that. Absolutely. But they need to know what to say. I mean, it's not just because, hi buddy, how are you? Let's have a connect, and I'll send you my sales guys next week. It's really does not really work like this anyway. Yeah, especially if you're speaking to a second generation family business. So those young guys who are like in their mid 20s, 30 maybe, who were educated mostly very well about business and new business tools and now running the company, they probably need a new narrative. Yeah. So I would say that winning the future is really rooted in compelling storytelling, human interaction, human interpretation, perspective. Um, and there are a lot of tools out there in marketing that can help you. In that survey from LinkedIn on B2B, a significant split between analytics and storytelling. So they were predicting the tools for the future, and how, if you have these skills, it will help you to win clients. So the split is 43% to storytelling. And storytelling, again, as I told you, the components of that narrative comes from your brand strategy. Who you are, the personality, the tonality, why do you exist in the first place? What is your brand story? Yeah. And therefore give the tools to your marketing and sales team to put it out there. Again, classic story. The marketing guys put out the message out there, and the sales guys go in person and do the pitch and close the contract. ABC, yeah? But we're putting more emphasis on the earlier part about the brand building. So that was 43%. And then 52% to analytics. Yeah, the technology out there, yes, generative AI, people are talking about it. It is not going to replace you, but it's going to help you. Yeah, but you need to be selective about the tools. There's so much out there, but yeah, analytics are extremely important. So it is one of the skills that you want to do that. So another slide I'm looking at from that report, and it says the marketing techniques, the top marketing techniques for next year, that will probably be highlighted and needed in the LinkedIn jobs for marketeers in B2B area specifically. So in-person events, yeah. So I would say this is around, you have a small meetup of industry leaders. Maybe speak to them not only about your tools, but maybe trends, success stories. Always add value. I mean, for people who follow me, they know that, of course, I want to pitch for my business. I mean, it's my bread and butter. I need to make an income, right? That's no brainer. But then again, if I want people to follow me, I need to give them something in return. And that is whether a reading, okay, how do I process a certain piece of communication, or I highlight a new trend, or a personal view about blah blah blah. I mean, you know me, I'm pretty outspoken. Or highlighting something else with some colleagues' work on that, whether that is positive or negative, or there's a space to move forward in a much positive manner. So if you're doing an event or a content or a one-to-one, always think add value. I mean, people are not stupid. I mean, if you're pitching, you're pitching, yeah? But make it nice, okay? So going back again to that survey, so we said number one, 60% is in-person events. Very closely at 59 is videos, which tells you a lot about the content that needs to be done. In that case, it's corporate communication. And yeah, let me plug in that I'm very good with corporate communication. If you want a revision of your corporate material, I'm your girl. The other thing would be around specific leadership content. And this is very interesting. It comes in at 57%, which can only happen if your leader has actually a vision. And I'm not talking a business vision, but a total vision of the organization. This is not about just one-on-one bottom line of the business. It is more around the culture of the company, how they are interacting with other industries or competition or whatever. So yeah, plugs in into this whole personal brand story that we spoke about. Now, the rest of the list are all between digital, whether you're going to have a display ad, events, expos, influencer marketing. Uh, Influence marketing is 42. I would plug that in under the personal branding type of thing. Personally, I mean that's a personal opinion, and it may vary. By the way, I just I have to have this disclaimer that this is a global survey, so you have to fine tune it to which market that you're in. I mean, I know for this part of the world, generally what we call warm markets, they like the one-on-one kind of discussions or gathering, and good food. By the way, that's a tip for you. Very important, the quality of the food and beverages. And online, it's been picking up maybe with the younger generation, particularly if you're talking to somebody across the globe. So yeah, that is on for sure. And yeah, uh, uh, if you want to a review of your website, I think that would probably be very beneficial. And when I say a review of your website, again, what is the narrative? Probably the data itself is the same. I mean, if you have a success story that is laid out, so we did this blah 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 for the government in Kenya, whatever. How are you relating? How are you relating that story? And mind you, people have very little time. If you don't have those buzzwords in that one paragraph, nobody would read. And between the clutter and lack of time and distractions, you put out their material for people to read. Now, uh, again, let me read to you a couple of percentages here again from the survey around the split between product promotion and brand building within that narrative, B2B narrative. I mean, I mean, this is global and it would vary. I would think our part of the region maybe more on the promotion side. When I say promotion, it's more around what are you selling? So it's about the what. Okay, so it's like a bullet point, da 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 da. Yeah, that's 62%. Now, the brand building is only 37%, which is really very sad. And if I'm looking at B2B versus B2C, there's a lot of lessons to be learned from B2C that B2B needs to be aware of. Because if you are acknowledging the need to build a brand, think about it. What's the funnel? The typical funnel of building a brand is awareness. I need to know who you are and what can you do for me. And then you engage the people in being curious and intrigued about your brand because of the material they read about you, or that fantastic salesperson that came to your office and did this wonderful presentation for you. And therefore, they're willing to take the next step and try your product. In that case, of course, it's a higher risk because this is like multi-billion-dollar kind of thingy. But in any case, there will be future around having more projects. This approach not only gives you growth, but also gives you growth away from your current clients. Because, I mean, think about it. What do we do in fast moving? It's about penetration and frequency. So you got a person that, a customer that buys your brand cheese, you want them to be loyal to you and always buy this cheese brand, whatever. Same thing, if I get a project, I will always want to go to X company or agency because they've done a good work with the previous one. And this is consistency and loyalty and recommendations. Same cycle. But then again, if you want to attract new users, new customers, what do? You have to have a story. I mean, I mean, I'm on these tons and tons of groups everywhere, and within the B2B space, sales jobs, or as they call it, business development, whatever, people in their like late 20s. The company has just put them, gave them a set of brochures or whatever, but actually they didn't tell them why. And it's very, very difficult for them to just come up with a story on their own, and it's not recommended, it has to be consistent. But then sometimes the next meeting, and this happens a lot in pharma, by the way. So we have all these medical reps coming in and saying the same thing to the doctor. Yeah. It will come down to, money, of course, but you don't want to go that route. Not really. Never position your company on money per se. That is really for losers, to be honest. Yeah. If you want to build a business long term, this should not be your thinking. And with big money comes big risk, but also big opportunities to grow for yourself, for your team, and of course for the business and your shareholders. Now I'm going to stop here and then ask you if you have any question, Bills. Have you had similar interactions as a salesperson, marketing person, a head of a company? Let me know your thoughts.